Hey cuties, Peachy here. Welcome back to a new video, and in this video we have some Monster High news to talk about. Well, really just the episode breakdown, so let's get into it. So the first episode is called Stone Alone, and as we've already seen, it's all about Deuce's sisters. Now, it starts off with Deuce explaining to his two moms that he wants to go off on his own journey, exploring the world, and by getting used to that, he wants to first go out on this camping trip that the school is doing. And they agreed, the parents. So that's great. He can now venture on his own and try it out with first trying to go camping, because as we all know, that's not as easy as it sounds. Now, I didn't notice before, but Manny and Deuce are roommates. They share a room, and I think Claude does too. He's here too. So they're all roomies, which is so cute. So as we can see, Manny's side of the room is super geometrical and has a lot of maze designs. And so right before the call ends, one of his twin sisters, Uriel, I believe, lets out this screech, which apparently is an SOS, but she apparently likes to use it also as an entrance or just to let people know that we're here, And yeah, so Uriel and Estino are twin sisters, and apparently Deuce also has 4 other sisters, so he has 6 sisters in total. And Manny explains that he would love to also have siblings, because apparently he didn't even he doesn't even have parents. He was brought up by his grandparents, so he doesn't have a lot of family, so he's an only child like me. So we'll never understand the dynamics of siblinghood. But yeah, the kids are all here, gathered to go camping. And then we see that the chaperones are actually the twin sisters. So here we have Esteno and Uriel, or vice versa. Sorry, I already forgot. But that's their names. And they're twins. So that means that the other siblings of Deuce are not probably twins. They're probably just, they all look different. So I also saw a comment from someone that perhaps one of those sisters will be Viperine, which I think would be really smart. It would be very clever to include her as the family that way, because I do know that obviously previously she was a cousin to Deuce, right? They were cousins, but now that he has 6 sisters, I feel like this would be a good way to introduce Viperine. Not now, but obviously we've already established that he has 6 sisters. So, I mean, who's to say that in a future episode from season 2, they might establish Viperine as one of those other sisters. Because he is also the youngest sibling, apparently, and also he's the only boy, of course. So it's hard for him. So as we can see here, the twin sisters are kind of playing around with him, doing that head thing that older siblings do or whatever. Right away we can see the dynamic of the siblings here. So they're the chaperones as requested by, I guess Mom Deuce asked them to volunteer or whatever. So they're here to take care of them. Then so they go to the camping site, and they set up their tents, which Deuce does as well, but apparently not well enough, because it flops to the ground again. And then his sisters are right there saying oh, sorry, didn't work out for ya, huh? And all the while they're kind of just looking over his shoulder and pointing out all that he's doing wrong. Here he was supposed to get some logs, but he gets stuck in some mud, and then he's again, he did something wrong. And then here we can see Cleo's tent, which looks amazing, and apparently it's super cold, which will come into play later. And here with making fire, Deuce is unable to do that, and then Frankie comes in to help. So, and then once again, the sisters are it's a shame that Frankie won't be there with you on your journeys, discovering the world and, camping and so it's just really downplaying that, he's not ready for the big wide world and to be on his own. So he goes around and he gets more logs, and then he hears that his sisters are actually, whispering. And it turns out that actually the twin sisters are responsible for the little mishaps that Deuce had all along. So he confronts them. We find out that they cut the tent down. They were responsible for the mud for him to get stuck on, and then they also told Frankie to light up the flame for him. So he's totally enraged. I mean, understandably so, because they're really just underplaying his what he can do, right? And so he goes off to get some air. I mean, to get some alone time. They're outside. So, and Manny's like, yeah, I know my way back to the campsite. I've laid out feathers, but then the wind comes in and blows them all away. So it seems that they're lost. So back at the campsite, it seems to get windy, even more windy, and apparently the campsite here is also not like the most ideal one to go camping on. So the ground starts shaking, and they're look at this is not good, obviously. So they're trapped in the middle. While they're trapped back with Manny and Deuce, they start talking about dynamic siblings and stuff, and how Manny is an only child, and so he doesn't really know what it's like, but his grandparents are also very protective, so he does understand that kind of like behaviors from someone. And so he tells Deuce to just maybe talk with his sisters, talk it out. It's not like he has anything to lose by just trying to open up and just talk to them about what's going on. And so he's like, I'll talk to them if Manny talks to his grandparents about being overprotective. So I'm happy that we got more discovery. We discovered more here from Deuce and Manny, and like about their family situations, because it's just really fun. I feel like they're really putting in more effort here with the boy characters, which I really appreciate. So here, obviously, they're back at the campsite because they heard one of the twin sisters' shrieks. So they found their way back, and obviously they're in big trouble. They cannot get across the void, the chasm here in the middle. So Deuce has an idea, and the twin sisters are not sure about it, but Deuce needs to be able to trust them, and they need to trust him and his abilities to help. And so they do, and then Deuce asks for help from the tree, who then moves and leans over so that the others can cross on him to the other side. And also to stabilize the tree, Deuce turns him into stone. And also I love how, little detail, right? Cleo and Frankie, they hold hands. So cute. And it's just like such a small thing, but like it just shows you that they're really they have a connection. For sure. So they pass. Everyone's safe again. And then we have a little moment here with the twin sisters and Deuce, and also kind of like talking about how they also felt a little bit jealous because their parents were never this hard on them as kids, and now Deuce has it all kind of like better because he's also like, again, the youngest child. So it's just different for him. So it all turns out better. They're all like, yay, like we'll try to look at you as an adult now and not as a baby Deucey, little snake, right? Snakelet, I believe they call him. So because he's grown up, and they didn't really understand that. So that's really fun. And at the end, we see that they are also now going on a camping trip to also gain more experiences, so that Deuce can also one day go off on his world trip alone. Now, the second half of the episode is all about, it's kind of like set up as a film noir. Like the intro is kind of like all black and white, and we see how someone is stealing all the talismans from all of the students here, including Claudine's Moonclaw talisman, and it's all narrated by Claude himself. So I'm happy here to once again, the protagonist, like the leading character here, is a boy character. Last talisman, the vampire talisman, which was the second to last one, got also stolen, even though it was safe in a safe. And so Claudine and Draculaura, they're like, what are you doing? Why are you narrating yourself in such a weird way? The talisman, the vampire one, is gone. And so what are they gonna do? So Claude sets out to play detective. He's going to find out who did it, who stole them, and they find a candy wrapper that belongs to the thief. And so while this happens, there's an announcement from Miss Bloodgood that basically, because of these, this thief going around stealing all these talismans, they've put a curfew, so students don't just roam the halls and put themselves in danger. And to ensure that policy, we also have Nightmare, who is basically a hall monitor now to make sure that no one is passing curfew hours. Back in Claude's room, he kind of explains that he knows who the thief is. It's the bandit. It's the sugar bandit. I don't know what, I forgot what he calls him, but it's basically a raccoon. It's a raccoon, okay? And he's from Boheme. So that's why he recognized the candy wrapper. So apparently the chances are kind of high that the raccoon might have just, also come through the portal when it had opened up all that time ago with, with Claude also when he came through. So he tries going out, but obviously Nightmare, that horse, catches him and so gets brought back in. And then Draculaura also tries to go out, but of course Nightmare is right there on the spot. And then they try again. Claude sneaks around, locking himself in the locker, and then Draculaura has this parasol that made her invisible. So they're both out now after hours, and they bump into each other. So cute. They hold each other's mouths as they have to be silent, as Nightmare passes by. And then they again, they have this cute little interaction. They're so cute. Oh my God, look at this. Ah! Like, this moment alone makes this whole episode just wins it for me. So Draculaura is like, oh, why are you here? Claude explains himself, and he's like, maybe we should team up and find a bandit together. And so they try to hug, emphasis on try. It's kind of weird. Again, this is so cute. They're trying to hug, or I don't know what they're trying to do here, but they keep missing the spot, and so they end up doing a little fist bump instead, which is going to be, I guess, their thing now, a fist bump, because they're so awkward, but it's so cute. So Draculaura fixes one of his equipment, gadgets, to help find the thief. And so she's he says oh, she should use witchcraft on all of his gadgets to make them better. And she's like, oh yeah, no problem, I'll do that for you. And then he finds some footprints and takes her hand, and again, so cute. She squeals in happiness, and she's like, yay. I just love how they had this little moment, just having a fun time. And then they find the bandit, obviously rummaging through some trash to eat, and Claude's like, I got you now. But then the bandit takes some candy, and now he's in full force, because the candy accelerates his speed and everything. So they come across Nightmare, of course. So they run away. They try to escape Nightmare, but Nightmare catches up with them, and they sends them back to their room. So the next day, they haven't slept yet. They haven't slept in 2 days, but they're really, they're not gonna give up. They have decided to stay in the room of Claude, looking out for the last talisman, which is the Gorgon talisman. And they again fist bump, so cute. But of course they fall asleep. Draculaura there, and then the next blink, Claude sees the bandit there stealing the talisman. He runs outside of the window and crawls up Monster High, the building. It's a huge building. I never really realized, but Claude goes up at the very top. Draculaura's there too, and then they try to corner him, and then he starts going down the side of the wall. Again, he uses a candy to accelerate his speed, and then they catch up to him with the help of Nightmare and Hednish's Bloodgood as well. And so now he is fully cornered, and he can no longer escape. And it turns out that he can speak. So he explains that he came through a portal as well, not with Claude though, because he came out, he tried to avoid him as much as possible from, because obviously Claude is he tries to catch these bandits, right? So in Boheme, pest control basically. So he says I'm a father, I have kids at home, I have a job, and so he doesn't want to be here. And that's why he stole the talismans, because he heard all of the people talking about how they with the talismans they can get back home. And he also talks about how he saw someone else when he came through the portal. It wasn't Claude, but it was someone else who had a tail and furry ears and stuff. So who could that have been? I guess we'll find out. But so the raccoon is like, like, okay, fine, I'll give you back the talismans if you promise to get me back to my family. And so he gives him back, and really fun. Again, Draculaura Claude, they're like cute little moment, but of course they're not out of the woods yet, because they still broke rules and they still got a ton of homework to compensate, of course. Then yeah, he tries to find his eyeball to record the end of his assignment, and he can't find it because, once again, you know, little candy wrapper, the bandit, is at it again. And that was the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. Leave a like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and become a member today so you don't miss out when I post more content like this coming your way daily, and keeping you up to date with all the adulty you love. Stay safe, be kind. I hope to see you next time. Stay peachy. Kisses.